All right. Okay. We are back here. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Self-Achievement Network. My name is Dominic, and I am here with this guy right here, Sharif Youssef, who is our marketing genius from
Oh my God.
Toronto, Ontario, via Cairo, Egypt. Hello, Sharif.
Hi, Dominic. How are you doing this
I'm doing
wonderful
great.
Friday?
It's right. TGIF. Thank God it's
TGIF.
Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're here to do part two of the marketing communication mix, right?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
before we begin, give us a 30-second elevator speech. Who you are, where you come from, what do you do?
Absolutely. So my name is Sharif Youssef, and I am a marketing consultant. I do consulting for small businesses and professionals, and I also teach marketing and business admin in one of Toronto's private colleges. And I have been doing marketing for the better part of 30 years of my life. And I decided to go independent 4 years ago, and now I have my own marketing practice, consulting practice.
The One Business Consultants.
Yes.
Worldwide.
Hopefully, yes. One day, one day.
That's right. So, and my name is Dominic Serta. I am the founder of the Self Achievement Network. I am also the author of a book called Manager Hacker and a program called the Achievement Seminar and Life Plan. So I help people to plan their life and create great results. And so we're here. We're going to talk about the part two of the marketing mix. What did we talk about? Can you recap real quick for us? What did we do last
Absolutely.
week?
Yeah. So last week we touched on the marketing communications as a methodology for reaching target audience. And again and again and again, I'll just keep on saying this. It's about communications. Marketing is all about communications, and it, companies should and must keep on looking for different ways to communicate with their customers and potential customers about their products and services. Um, and the main goal is to stay in contact with their customers. And in order to do that, there are so many ways to do it. Previously or back in the year, companies used to do these like individual sort of efforts where they did advertising, and then when it didn't work, then they used direct response, and then when it didn't work, then maybe they used events and so on. But the approach of integrating all these marketing communications mix, or these methods of reaching the customer has been utilized for a number of years, and it's proven so successful for companies. And there are so many out there that just if I just say the name, then you probably know what I mean. So if I say Starbucks, for example, you'll see that yeah, they're on social media. They have a magnificent Twitter account. They use billboards. They introduced 3D billboards, and they obviously have the personal selling part, and sales promotion in their stores is very important. And so that's one name, and so many others. I would go, maybe I mentioned last week Wendy's as one of the really um, big examples of communications. um, Coke and Pepsi, and so the names are, I know they're huge names and everything, and have been in the market for such a long time. But the idea is integrating all the marketing methods, the communication methods, in order to reach the target client.
Mm-hmm.
And as I mentioned last week, it's doesn't matter if you're a big company or a small company, or a professional service. The thing that matters is that how to use all these different things together in order to deliver a consistent message to your target clients.
Mm-hmm.
So, so that's
So it's like a whole system approach.
yes. And I remember you portrayed it this way last week. You did it this way. So it's pretty much the same thing. It's how you get all these gears working together and delivering value, delivering information to your customers, and at the same time they're not cannibalizing on each other, and they're delivering the right message.
Hmm. So the main parts that we talked about last week again were what? There was three.
Advertising, we spoke about advertising and direct response and digital communications, interactive communications. And today we're going to touch, briefly on PR, public relations, and experiential marketing and events, sales promotion, and personal selling. And PR is, as I mentioned many times, maybe in this forum, but PR is one of my favorite subjects to talk about. And
Public
it's
relations. Yeah.
public relations, yes, and it is derived from the name. Like it's how you shape the public opinion and how you portray yourself in front of the public, and it's a very effective tool, because it is not usually one of the things that is paid for. And the idea, as I was mentored one day, is that to make the company news, make the company or the product itself as newsworthy material for the media to pick up this news and make stories about it.
Hmm.
And this is the art, if I would say, of public relations. And once this happens, then especially in a digital world now, it becomes very contagious, and it moves from one media outlet to another, and then you can utilize different channels and so on. Maybe previously, 20-30 years ago, we used to use traditional media like newspapers and magazines and so on. But now it's because of the digital world. Now it's become very easy to, just go on a site of one of these media agencies and tell them that you have a certain event or something about your product, and then off you go. They'll be all over you, and they'll ask you for information, and once they put it up on their site, then another site picks it up, and then another site picks it up, and so on and so forth. So again, it's just how to get them working together, get public relations delivering a message that is consistent with your advertising, with your direct response, and even with another method, which is events, for example. And events can go a long way. They are definitely one of the ways that one of the communications means that puts you right in front of your customers, especially if you're in like a big seminar or a big industry event or something. So you got to be prepared. You gotta have the right material. You're gonna have the right messages to say. If you're gonna sell something at the event, then maybe prepare your selling speech and everything. Maybe prepare a trial version of your product for people to actually, touch and feel. Always goes a long way as well. But one of the things that companies have been doing lately also is experiential marketing, whereby they do something different to engage the audience, like in an actual real life type of environment. So one of the examples that comes to mind, I think it was one of these um, deodorant companies, and because they were coming into the market with a very new product, and it's very congested. This market is very congested. So in Toronto here, they came up with a very unique idea, I believe, which is they built an ice wall. I think it was maybe 5 or 6 meters high or something, right
Wow.
in the heart of Toronto. Yeah, and in winter, obviously, because it's an ice wall. And they built it right in the heart of Toronto, and they urged passersby to stop and climb the wall. So they had these little sticks in the ice wall, and they urged people to stop and try to climb the wall. Sort of like a challenge thing, but it grabs their attention. And if they succeed, if they do whatever is asked of them, then they get a giveaway, maybe a little bag with some freebies and stuff like that. But the communication is the important part, because you know this person who went through that experience is never going to forget it, and is
Right.
always going to bring it up with their friends. So look what this method of communications can do for this company going forward, you know. um, so yeah, that's another part with experiential marketing and events and sponsorships, obviously. um, we go into sales promotion, and this is maybe a very old way of doing things, where you promote your product by giving like an extra value, like a discount or a coupon or a gift card or something like that. And these things you can send directly to your target audience, to their homes by mail. And you can also you know, if put some of these in the stores, so people can try to pick them up and see if they can utilize some value. But again, it is a communication means where it gets that interaction with the target client. So it depends here on the value that you're providing and where you're going to provide it. And then it brings us here to the last means of communication, which is the personal selling. And um, no matter how much advertising you spend, um, but if the person standing right next to that display does not know information about the product or cannot sell the product, then your advertising money is going to waste. So personal selling is very important. Um, that person has to be knowledgeable and has to be persuasive, because this will go hand in hand with your advertising efforts. So it's as if this doesn't happen, if you don't have a knowledgeable salesperson or a person that can do personal selling, either in the store or face to face, then this means that your advertising efforts are going down the drain, basically. So they have to complement each other. You're spending money on advertising somehow, be it on TV or on flyers or digital even, and you have your stand, you have your display stand in one of these stores. There has to be someone who can talk well about the product and be able to sell it. And this is how all these can integrate together and work together to deliver that message. It seems like a big thing or maybe a difficult thing, but I always say that if you're in doubt, then go to the people who know the business, people who are specialists in this, because otherwise you're just going to spend money and then it's going to go to waste.
Yeah.
That's definitely my advice to people when they're trying to implement integrated marketing communications.
So let me ask you a question. That's a great word that you just used, implement. So, I mean, the concept that you're talking about right now is fabulous. So it's a system that works together like we were talking about, right? All the integrated pieces. And when they're doing this, everything is beautiful, right? That's in an ideal, perfect world. And so what is the implementation? How does that work? So you have a client, and then it's 6 components you're talking about? 6 components.
7.
So then 7?
Yeah.
Okay, so 7 components. So then how is it that, when you're with your approach, you go through each one of them with the marketing department, with the director? I mean, how does that work? How do you do that?
What we typically do is that we gather the information first because this is a plan, okay? So this all of this has to have a plan, and each of one of these 7 items also has to have a plan on its own. But the thing is that like any plan, you start with gathering the information of the current situation and how things are going right now, and then put together the objective with the people in charge, like you said. what is the objective? What do we need to achieve? And it has to be obviously a smart objective and time framed and everything. So once we agree on the objectives, and then we, as somebody like me who's doing the strategy, would work with them on putting the plan for the communications. So we're going to do advertising. We're just going to spend this amount of money for this campaign that's going to last for 3 months, and then by the end of the 3 months, we will have introduced some digital, for example, and digital will work like on its own for another 3 months. During digital, we will have a display stand at these locations, and we want to have people that. So it is a plan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we just need to put the details of the plan first, and this is what we agree upon with the company, and then start implementation.
Yeah, interesting. So there's a lot of moving parts to each component of this, each of the 7 components. However, if I mean, so first question. So why is it important to hire somebody like you to administrate the whole thing from the beginning?
Um, it I always say it's better to do things right the first time. This is what we learned. I mean, I learned this when I first started working with Xerox like 30 years ago. It's you do things right the first time. You don't want to do things and then find out that no, this is not working. So okay, I'm gonna scratch that, spend some money, and then I'm gonna go back to the drawing table and do this. So if you don't have the expertise, I would definitely not advise you to do it on your own. Bring in somebody who understands this type of this function of the business that can help you. You're not
Yeah.
going to save any money by doing it on your own and then going back to somebody who specializes in it. This is not going to save you money. In fact, you're going to spend more money doing it on your own, and then reverting to the fact, okay, so I can't do it, and you would have spent a lot of time, you would have spent a lot of money, and time is, you can't get back time, especially in these days where COVID and everybody's just struggling and trying to find different venues for business. You can't get back the time. So why don't you do it right the first time? Bring somebody in. I've worked with companies, and I've worked with companies that are in different fields. I've worked with professional services. I've worked with manufacturing, worked with telecom. I've worked with a number of companies, and it's always better to have somebody who understands, somebody knows, somebody to put the plan, somebody to, like you said, to bring all the bits and pieces together, instead of just shooting in the dark.
Yeah.
And you'll probably miss.
Well, what, and I'm not a marketing pro like you, and I can only imagine from my own experience, imagining what other companies are doing. They may have, the 7 components, there on the table. However, the integration part, they may not be doing well, and they may be missing pieces. Well, we'll do this. We've got a trade show. Let's go do that trade show. And then, oh yeah, TV ad, and so there's like shotgun over here, shotgun over there,
Yeah.
shotgun over there, and there's not this
Yes.
thing happening. That's what I think that's probably more normal than the integration part, unless you're a Wendy's or a Starbucks or like that have these gigantic marketing departments, right?
Yeah, it's exactly like you said it, and they just companies need to realize that, especially in these times where we're everybody's just trying to be very mindful of their expenditures, and trying to put the right money in the right item to bring into the company. And I understand that a lot of companies have their head wrapped around their production and their manufacturing and everything, but I do definitely urge them. You don't need to do things your own way, and then find out maybe 3-4 months later that no, I shouldn't have done it this way. Why don't you do it right the first time? It's
Yeah.
it's a very simple concept.
Well, I'm thinking about, so there's a lot of, you're a small business marketing pro, right? So small business. I'm just on my phone. So, I see these ads coming, in these different apps and, Google ads and all these things that are happening, and on Facebook, and you name the platform, the ads are happening. But there's a place for those, like dentist and, the local store, and all these. I mean, I can't even remember what they all are, but they're smaller business. So what would be your ideal client as a small
Um,
business marketing?
I, I don't really limit myself to the industry. I'm focusing on the size of the business mainly, because I know that if I go bigger in size, then my services will not be needed. But I focus on the size. It doesn't matter to me if it's a local store or a dentist or a lawyer or whatever it is. It doesn't matter, because the main fundamentals of marketing are the same. The only difference is the product or service. That's the
Yeah.
only difference.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Great. Okay,
So,
doke, man.
um, so just to wrap up quickly and sort of touch on this topic in summary, it companies need to remember that they should and must be in constant contact with their customers. So that's the overarching goal, is to keep in contact with their customer, because if they're not in contact, they will be forgotten. That's simple. Um, and there are a number of ways to reach them, and we spoke about these number of ways. There's 7 of them out there. Um, Using that integrated marketing communications methodology expands the possibilities for companies to reach these audience. I'm not saying that if you use one of them on its own, then you won't reach them. No, I'm not saying that. But using that integrated approach definitely um, um, increases the possibility of reaching them, the target audience. And the last thing is that it has to be uh, synergistic, so that it actually delivers the message.
Mhm.
Because otherwise it won't be integrated, as we mentioned.
Yeah. Great stuff.
Thanks.
Beautiful. Okay. Excellent. So we'll see you next time?
Yes, Friday of next week. We have,
Next
I think
week?
I have a topic to speak about, and how marketing can help companies ROI. And I think this is what I'm going to speak about next week.
Okay. Great. And we've got some exciting news coming up here in the Self-Achievement Network. We will be revealing that as the days go by. And thank you all for being here. And Sharif, again, thank you for what you do for us here and
Always a
sharing
pleasure.
your knowledge.
Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Okay, everyone, you have yourself a fabulous weekend. TGIF, go have some fun out there. And we will see you again soon. Next Friday with Sharif. But before that, I'll be on a couple times next week. Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye for now.